Well, once again, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Um, to all learners and our students in applied leadership, I want to sincerely, once again, apologize um, without any condition, unconditionally, because this is not to our doing that we could transmit our sessions to you so late. I am going to come to you and some of these programs that we are doing, that's why I have to share them even on the social media platform so that others can also participate. But if you are watching us or you are catching us from the social media platform, either via our Facebook channel or our YouTube channel, you are really privileged to get this information because applied leadership is a course that people are paying for in a very, very big way. But now the difference is you are catching pieces and bits, and that's not going to help you so much. But look, it's going to enhance your leadership skills. So it's going to enhance your leadership skills. So stay on, stay tuned. And hey, Miss Mbali Manon, my dear sister, thank you so very much. Share it to Dr. Gabs and let him know that we are on. Many people were so glad for his last session. So, Miss Manono, thank you so very much. Now, as I'm saying that we are going to look at communication as we are now on module 14B. I did introduction yesterday, and after we did introduction to applied communication, we are going to continue there. And just for the recap, let me begin by stating that we did communication theories for professional life. And if you need books to read on that, please can you search the books by Mariana Doughton and Eliane D. Zali. Yeah, so those books I'm not going to show everything on because really this load shedding has really killed us. We have been stage 6 load shedding, and power has just been going for 6 hours in a day. And so whenever we have a bit of time like this, I am coming back in the studio quickly so that we can catch up with our students and we catch up with those. So we were looking at communication, and I did introduction on the other day, yesterday. And so let's go detail again today. But let me just do a recap for the sake of my sister who's joining us and those who are joining us, those who are not with us. Let me just do a bit of a recap. And please, can you comment for me and tell me where you are catching me from so that I can know that I've got some of you people. I love to hear from you guys. So thank you so very much. Give me feedback. More especially, I want to know if the sound is okay. You're hearing me loud and clear, and there are no squeaks and all that. That's why I transmit it also on our social media platform. Okay, so let's go. So I did introduction to communication theories, and I said communication is the process by which people interactively create, sustain, and manage meaning. Okay. Communication is the process by which people interactively create, sustain, and manage meaning. And we looked at where communication loses its meaning. And so remember, there's a difference between talking and communicating. Right. So that is another issue that we can look at. So I also looked at the three types of theories in communication, in applied communication. 3 types of theories in applied communication. Remember, I'm using the word applied communication. So we looked at the 3 types, and the first one was the common sense theory. The second one was the working theory. The third one was the scholarly theory. And I went on in details and I tried to break them down. And so if you did not catch our last lesson, please go back to your messages. Some of you received it over audio, or go back to our YouTube channel and check through and see where you did not get in. And also, I want to look at some serious aspect of communication. Now, let's go into the details. That's why I put this one as part B or module 14B, because I did module 14A yesterday, so which was just the introduction. But now let's go into beginning to go into detail. Inductive theory development. Let's look at that. Inductive theory development. This is called a grounded theory. Okay, research comes before theory. Okay, this tells us that first you research before you communicate. Study on a particular topic, and based on the results of research to develop a theory. So that means that firstly, there must be a research on any subject or on any matter before it is communicated. Are you with me? So you do a research before you communicate. You don't communicate before you research. So that is called inductive theory or grounded theory. Okay. The second one that we want to look at is what we call deductive theory development. Deductive theory development. This is all in applied communication. Deductive theory development. Now, deductive theory, the first one was inductive, okay? The first one was inductive. Remember, the one research comes first. Then deductive is a hypothesis or a working theory must be developed before any research is conducted. Let me say that. Deductive theory dictates or entails that this is a hypothesis or a working theory must be developed before any research is conducted. So this one, the communication aspect starts first before the research. Inductive research starts. Deductive before research. Okay, I hope that is very clear. Then we have got what we call research. Okay, research. All this has to do with communication, guys. So research, this is the methodical gathering of data. Research, the methodical gathering of data, as well as the careful reporting of results of the data analysis. Okay. So this is now a research is being done. I want you to follow me. This is a methodical gathering. So there must be a systematic pattern of a method which shall be followed in gathering information. There must be a systematic. Okay, so this is how information will be gathered. So a research is conducted. This can take a number of ways and a number of routines. So you can either involve your students, or you can either involve a data analysis, or you can either involve a team of expertise within your business, or within your organization, within your company. Or you can involve the external ones, or you can involve the internal team to conduct a research based on the professionalism. So there is also what we call primary research. Primary research, it's research reported by the person who conducted it. Primary research is reported by the person who conducted it, often published in academic journals. This is often published in academic journals. So you must understand on that. Then there is what we call secondary research. Secondary research is research reported by someone other than the person who conducted it. Okay, the primary research is the one that is done by the person who conducted it. Then secondary research is the report, or is reported by the person, or is rather reported by someone other than the person who conducted it. So it can either be reported by an institution. This can be published also in newspapers or textbooks. Now, this is what most of the journalists, they do. Well, I've done a few interviews, and when I discuss a few interviews with them, then you come and read the story. What I was trying to communicate, of course, that's been delivered, but you discover that the words that are being used are not as the same as I said. And then you find that meaning can either be distorted or can be maintained. This is what we call secondary research. There are different research methods in communications, and I want us to look at these ones. Okay, there are different methods, different methods used for research in communication, and I want us to look at these ones that I have listed below here. And the first one is called experiments. I want us to look at that. Experiments is ultimately concerned with casualness and control. Okay, so this is very seriously to look at, because experiments, there is that casualness as well, that is which is there, and also there must be control, and so we have got that. An experiment is the only research method that allows researchers to conclude that one thing causes another. One thing causes another. So a system is put. There are two possible settings for an experiment. There's what we call a laboratory experiment or a field experiment. Now, it depends with what you are working with when it comes to communication. So whenever you are doing communication, there is that kind of experiments that will be done. Remember, there is what we call laboratory experiment, or the other one is called field experience. Laboratory experiments is where people gather data and they bring it to you, and you begin to analyze and say, this is what it means. Does not mean this. This means that. And finally, you come up with the right answers. Okay, so let's move on and also look at, there is what we call survey research. Survey research. The most common means of studying communication is through the use of surveys. Survey research, we need to understand that it's one of the commonest. This has to do with market research, and other surveys are examples of this. In general, there are two types of surveys. Number one is what we call interviews. Now, interviews is what people can participate in orally, where you question. This is what we call you question people, question and answer, and they respond orally to you. The second one is what we call questionnaires. Remember, the first one, the interview, people respond orally. Then there is what we call questionnaires. The questionnaires, people respond in writing. Remember that in a questionnaire, you must present what we call open-ended questions. Open-ended questions. That means that answer in their own words. They answer in their own words. And also, there is what we call closed-ended questions, which simply means they will answer it direct to what you are asking. So you must at all times have that understanding. Am I too fast? Okay, so I hope that you are able to catch what I'm trying to talk about, and you are able to follow through, because at this particular time, you must realize that there are a number of ways in which we can communicate. All this is on how we gather information and being able to communicate accurate information. Then there is also what we call textual analysis. Okay, textual analysis is used to uncover the content, nature, and structure of the message. There are three distinct forms that textual analysis take in the communication discipline. Number one is what we call rhetoric criticism. Rhetoric criticism. Rhetoric criticism is a systematic method of describing and analyzing, interpreting, and evaluating the persuasive force of messages. Okay, that's rhetoric. The second one is content analysis. We must also understand that content analysis is identify, classify, and analyze the occurrence of a particular type of a message. You analyze, you identify, classify, and analyze. So that is called content analysis, okay, of the message. Then the last one is called interaction analysis. This is also called conversational analysis. Interaction analysis. This is focused on interpersonal or group communication with interactions, and that have been recorded with a specific emphasis on a nature of a structure or a structure of interaction. So that is what we call textual analysis. So you must look at where I started from. Firstly, I said there's what we call experiment. Then I said there's what we call, after experiments, I called research surveys or survey research. Then after survey research, there's what we call textual analysis. Then there's what we call ethnography. Okay. Now let's look at ethnography. Ethnography used by scholars of communication. The researcher must place him or herself into a particular culture. This has to do with ethnography. And as you can see, a researcher places himself in a particular, culture to understand and to get the meanings of that specific culture for that cultural context, so that it's in that context. So ethnography, you get to the ground, you sit with the people, you don't interview them, you watch, you learn for yourself. So as a leader, what am I saying? When you have to know your working culture, for example, as a leader, in order for you to communicate effectively with your people, you must at least find some time to go into the industry. Let's say you are in a banana plantation or your banana business. So why can't you go into that banana plantation? You work with the people, and then you are able to do whatever you can do. There's a young lady from Zambia. I don't know her name, but I've been watching her on YouTube. And if there is somebody who knows her, you can tell her that we quoted her here before she sues us. There's a young lady from Zambia called the Z Farmer. I've been looking at what she does. One of the mornings, I saw she posted a video where she is busy in the field. She's the owner of the business, but she's busy in the field with pluck tomatoes for her, and she is sitting with them. They are plucking tomatoes and they are washing tomatoes together, and they are packing the tomatoes together. And then there was a time they are cooking together, they are joking, they are eating, and she's talking with them in the language, but she's their leader, or she's the owner of the company or the owner of the business. What does that tell you? She is trying to acquaint herself with the working culture. Now, this is why we have strikes every time. We have strikes every time because we have leaders or managers who do not understand the working culture of their people or their subordinates. So at that particular time, you find that your people do not really know what you're doing. Okay. Why? I've said this some time back. There is something that I like about President Jacob Zuma many years. I noticed that President Zuma was a person, even when he was president, but he would get out and meet with the people and be with the people, eat with the people, interact with the people, interact with the common man. Nelson Mandela, the same thing. I remember there is a story told that one day Nelson Mandela's convoy was moving and they saw a lady under the rain, and it had stopped on the side because the lady was trying to change the tire. And the president stopped his motorcade. President Madiba stopped his motorcade and walked and stepped out to go and try to help that lady on the street. And that story breaks just protocol. But you know what? It's what we call ethnography, to try to acquaint yourself with the culture. So if you are working with a certain grouping of people, you must understand their culture. So your communication, applied communication, is relevant, and you are able to do what you can do. So what did I say to you? Let me quickly summarize this by saying there are these things I want us to talk about. Remember, I said research methods, right? What it reveals and what it is, conceals. What it conceals. Okay. The first one I said is what we call experiment. The experiment brings what it reveals, cause and effect. what it conceals, whether the cause-effect relationship holds true in less controlled environment. Okay. Then there is what we call surveys. Number 2 is what we call survey. What it reveals. Surveys reveals respondent thoughts, feelings, and intentions. What it conceals cannot establish causality, cannot establish causality, cannot determine what people actually do. Then there is what we call textual analysis. Textual analysis, what it reveals the content, the nature, and structure of the message. What it conceals, the effect of the message on the receiver. Ethnography, rules, what it reveals rules and meanings of communication in a culture or context. What it conceals may provide a highly subjective and therefore thereof based views of the culture and context. So guys, on part B of communication, I thought it is wise for me to come to you and share this important information with us so that we can be able to understand applied communication. I will send you the last lecture on communication tomorrow, and you please go through this stuff. And after I'm done, I'll send you the whole notes with that. So tomorrow I'll send you the last discussion on communication. Then we will be able to do our last 15th module, and we shall be calling it done. And then we begin to prepare for ourselves for certification processes as they begin almost immediately. Congratulations, we are almost done with your applied leadership course. And for those of you who are joining us towards the end, guys, you have got an opportunity that when the next intake starts, you can enroll. But we continue learning and learning and learning. For all of you that have been part and parcel of this class for today, I'll see you again tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. For me, on behalf of the team and the leaders at the African Institute of Leadership and Governance, Siabulela, have a good night.